Hey guys, Spoony849 here, Rather Afraid on my main channel, and this is a villager transport system I designed a bit ago. There's a lot of new problems with the villagers in the 1.14 update, or sometimes solutions, sometimes problems. I call them problems because I think they had to be 120, or actually I think it's about 75 or so blocks away. I remember building things 120 blocks away. But they have to be about 75 blocks away from a bed so that they don't connect, and 20 blocks away from every other trading hall so that they also don't connect to it. And it just becomes a huge problem when you have to build all these villager things. Like some you have to build like way over there, and then you have to transport them all the way over there, and then you transport those all the way over there, and it just becomes a nuisance. So what I've designed here is this Nether villager transport system. Now, if you really don't want to build this in the Nether, you could also just build this exact same design in the overworld. It works perfectly fine. But I built this in the Nether just because I feel like it helps it a lot more if you build it in the Nether, so that you don't have to worry about any of the other problems. Also, the reason I built this one in the Nether is because in my realm with my friends where I designed this, my base is in the ocean, and there's multiple areas of my base that are further apart from others. So to make sure I get to those other parts, I didn't really want to build like a whole transport system over the ocean and under the ocean. I just wanted to build it in the Nether so I could transport them through Nether portals. Either way, I'll show you how this thing works. So we have this little dispenser here that dispenses minecarts, and they will get picked up through the minecart through this little holding chamber. You want to make sure this is made out of glass so that they don't suffocate. And what you want to have on the other side of this Nether portal is some sort of villager breeding system. And then you want to have some water flow channels that transport the baby villagers into this Nether portal. They're going to go through and they're going to come out the other side, and they're probably going to mess around in the Nether portal frame for a bit until they eventually fall off. And you want to make sure that this is 2 blocks deep, because if they are not 2 blocks deep, then if it is only 1 block, they will fall down and they will try to jump back up to this other block. But if it's 2 blocks deep, because they still just walk off anyways, you don't even need a trapdoor here, they will still walk off if it's 2 blocks. And if it's 2 blocks, they won't try to jump back up. So what you want to do after that is, just as an example, they're going to fall right on that pressure plate. Hopper's going to get, a minecart's going to get dispensed, and they're going to come all the way up this chain as you saw, and they're going to go into one of these holding cells. Now I'm going to fill this one up just so you get an idea of how this thing works. I think it needs about 2 more. Oh, I did that way too quick. There. And I need 1 more as well. You will see right now that this is actually activated, because once at the very back of this, you want to make sure you have a activator rail or a detector rail, so that once one of these villagers hits the detector rail, then that means that this whole slot is full, and they will transport over to one of the next slots open. And this activates. I'll show this in the tutorial later in the video. I'll have a tutorial in the description. I will have timestamps showing all of them. I will also have the 2 people that designed. One of them designed this chunk loader, and I also have yet to describe it. But this is pretty important. How did he go back? Huh. Interesting. I've yet to describe it, but this chunk loader is pretty important. It's not 100% necessary. Whoops. It's not 100% necessary, but it's pretty important if you want to have this thing running like overnight while you're AFK. And what you want to make sure is you want to build this in the center chunk, and you want to have a 3x3. because the way chunk loading works is a bit strange, but I mean, chunk loading is chunk loading. I guess you're not really going to get it any other way. Either way, within 3x3 area of the nether portal, there are just regular normal chunks. Outside that 3x3, I've marked it, by the way, as you can obviously see, are these lazy chunks. And these lazy chunks, items don't flow and entities don't flow, but they stay there and they still exist in these lazy chunks. They just don't move. And these ultra lazy chunks all the way out here, entities start to despawn. So you definitely don't want anything in these chunks out here. So you want to make sure everything's built within this 3x3 chunk space. And if you could press F3 and G to show off the chunk borders if you didn't already know that one. Either way. Oh, he just keeps bouncing back, activating that, that's why. Let me just fix this really quick before I move on. I could probably dispense another one now. He'll get picked up, go up here, because that one's full. He will switch over and go the next available one. Because that one's full, he'll also go down this one. This is probably the optimal design, I would say, build it in the 3x3 so everything's all nice and loaded, but that's not super hard because the 3x3 chunk area is pretty big. But having them this close and probably this long is the best possible way you could get it. There's a few problems that come with this build, one of them being that a lot of the time the villagers will just kind of stay in the portal and you just have to sit there and wait until they eventually fall down into this little area and get picked up by the minecart. What else? They bob up and down when they're in here. They will not just stay still. So as you saw before, the villager got kicked out and he went all the way back down. Yeah, I can't place like a glass block there, but it won't change that. But that usually doesn't prove to be too much of a problem, as long as they're not bobbing too hard. And see that this one's like perfect, and see there it goes. Shouldn't be all too much of a problem. He just kind of gets in there. You can kick him out again. And actually, well, I mean, I guess the reason that that one was full is because that one's like ultra full, so he kept getting kicked out. But this one's like just the right amount, so he doesn't get kicked out too far. Either way, these little lane switchers are pretty interesting how they work, but I'll explain them later in the tutorial. Down here, you want to have this little bit here, and this is pretty important. Let me just get rid of this guy real quick, so he's not in the way, and he's gone anyways. Doesn't really matter. You want to have this little bit right here, where they come down, and once they're at the bottom, when there's no other villagers down here in this space, they'll fall down into here. And as you can kind of see, if I highlight it, there's a tripwire that it activates this observer, which activates the block behind it and activates the sticky piston, which will put this glass block in place so no other villagers will try to get down in here. Whoops. So what you want to do after that is, you will see this is also another problem, is there's probably ways to make it so you can press a button and it will just immediately click this block, but the only way you can do it is just move the lever really fast. That's really all you got. But either way, as you saw right there, the sticky block came out and placed the glass block in front, but it retracted at first once he left, so that another villager came in front. And you want to make sure you click that really fast so no other villagers come out, because they will file out very fast. And let's see. Yeah, building these about 3-ish blocks apart and making sure, we don't have to make sure that there's glass there. I just put it there so I can see how many villagers are in there, and which is really useful. Also, if you don't plan to build this on the nether roof, it's almost pertinent that you place everything in stone and make sure everything is covered in stone so that ghasts can't destroy it. That's almost necessary. Though if you build it on the nether roof, you really don't have to worry about that, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem. Either way, where'd the guy go? He should have gone in here. Oh, no he didn't, because I have this open. Yeah, that's my fault. That should have been closed. I'll just take another guy. Either way, this is the little trade switcher. You want to close that up so no other villagers out there can connect. And you just want to take whatever trading thing you have and place it in front of them until you get the right trade. Yeah. Right there. And you just want to switch until you get to whatever trade you want him to have. And you can just keep doing this over and over and over. Just destroy it and place it, destroy it and place it. One of the problems with this is I actually, in my own world, I have it so they go through another portal and then I can trade switch in the overworld instead of in the nether. But I guess it's easier to do it in the nether so you don't have to have another system of nether portals. But I think this works pretty well. Oh, sorry, I'm a bit tired. It's pretty late right now. That's a pretty bad trade. But I just keep going. Let's see if I could. Yeah, that'll do it. Right there. So you, let's say, sure, this Luck of the Sea for 5 emeralds. You want that really bad. So you buy either the book or whatever's below the book, or if he has a paper trade, you can buy paper. And you destroy the lectern so nothing else can connect to it. You don't have to open this up yet, but I would still do it preemptively. And then you want to flick this lever so he goes along the track. And then he'll go up there, and as you saw, he got kicked out over here to the right. Also, I have tried this before. This is a logical Geek Boy design, by the way. It is quite useful, quite versatile for moving the villagers around. But they will not get kicked out to the left. You cannot kick them out over here. It is almost necessary that you build it on the right side because they will not get kicked out on the left side. I don't know why that is, but that's just kind of why or how it is, I guess. I don't know why that is, but it is. So once they fall in here, they'll fall into this nether portal bit. And you want to make sure you have these blocks right behind the nether portal so they don't just fall through. I guess it doesn't really matter because they will they'll go through the nether portal immediately anyways, but I still put those blocks there regardless. It's necessary you put the blocks behind on that one because they will just walk out. But here it's not specifically necessary, but I still put them there for precaution. Either way, you want to make sure you got some blocks on the left so they only have a 1 lane area to go after they fall through. And I don't have it lit because I don't have it going anywhere, but if you did have it lit, then you would, once they go through the nether portal, on the other side of the nether portal, you would want to build this exact thing up where they fall through the nether portal and they land on the pressure plate and this whole thing activates and they get taken wherever you need them to go. And you also want this little thing right here so that once the minecarts are done, they just kind of go around the track right over top of another portal and just go right here, and you just pick them up and take them and put them into this hopper or this chest right in here or wherever you really want to put them. Either way, that is pretty much all the mechanics and how this whole thing works. I'll do a hopefully short tutorial. I don't really know how long it's going to take for me to do it, but it should be a hopefully pretty short tutorial. I'll have Logical Geek Boy stuff like that area and that thing linked in the description, and what was his name? Doublemoses' Nether chunk loader also linked in the description, because this takes a while to explain, and I think he does it a much better way considering he'll explain a lot of the details. Okay, wait 1 sec. Okay, this is the first design made by Logical Geek Boy. So what you want to do is you just want to place a dispenser, and this is going to be the filled up dispenser. There's a hopper going into that. You want to get a chest. You can have a double chest. I'm just going to do a double chest just because we could have just a regular chest. And then you want right here pod rail is going like that. You want to have a block right above that. You can see these connect through that. And then after that, you want to place some rails right on top of this block. So it looks just like that. Also, this is kind of weird whenever you place another rail in front. Oh wait, why didn't it do it? It usually does. Oh, I know why, because I didn't destroy this rail yet. Yeah. Usually whenever you place another rail in front, I'll just show you just because it happens all the time. Place another one in front, that just flattens. So you can either leave that there before you place this rail, or you could just destroy it and replace it. It's your choice. Either way, you do that. I'm going to place a block right here, place a piece of redstone on it, get a pressure plate, place that right there, get some glass. Make sure this is made out of glass so that when the villagers come in, they don't suffocate whenever they go through the bits. You just want to cover this whole thing in glass. And that is the first design, the pickup. Alright, next we have this lane switcher. I'm actually going to show both designs, and for some reason there's like a switch in between. They change. Either way, for the first design, you want to have, oh yeah, that's right, I forgot, I gotta place these two down here. Like that, need a detector rail. Okay, right there. So for the first part, you want to have two redstone torches. This one down here negates this one. And then after that, you want to get a redstone repeater going into this bottom bit. And then you want a sticky piston and a block of redstone. And you want to place the sticky piston right below the detector rail, like so. And place the block of redstone onto the sticky piston. So that whenever, I don't have a minecart on me. Whenever something goes by it in the minecart, it will activate it, and whenever something stays on it in the minecart, you'll keep it activated. And that will switch it to whichever next available lane is ready. So you can see it switches it right back afterwards. And then the other bit is a bit easier, a bit less complicated, and a bit less resource intensive. This one is coming from a separate direction. You just need one redstone torch just to activate it. As you can see, it's going in there. And then, oh whoops. You want 2 blocks beneath the detector rail. You want a redstone piece right beneath the block beneath the detector rail, and repeater going into the block that has the redstone torch. So that, whenever it goes right there, whenever there's a minecart on it, it will switch the rail going that way. And this is probably the best design that I can come up with because it's directly vertical. It's not very large. It's very resource intensive. Alright, this is the villager sort of holding cell bit, or the exporting cell bit, the area where you want to take them out. So let me get some glass here. You want to place the rails just like that, so it goes down, up, if you want to get them onto the same line, that is. But if you want them to go a bit lower, then it doesn't really matter if you place them a little bit lower. It also doesn't matter which side you place the sticky piston on. You just want to make sure you have some space for it, about 2 blocks or so. And I'll just place a lever on top of that. There we go. So next, we want to have an observer, or rather I need a piece of string first. I want a piece of string, an observer going right into that piece of string, a block right behind the observer, sticky piston right on top of that. Oh, whoops, that's right, I'm powering that at the same time. block going right on top of that. You want to cover this area up so that nothing really gets in there and nothing leaves. I always place a glass block on top. I know it's not on a slope, so it doesn't show up, but this is just a demonstration so that it actually works. It goes along there. Oops, probably best if he was on a slope. Gotta build this up a little bit so he doesn't fall out. Push him in. Come on now. Get on in there. Perfect. There we go. As you see, put the glass block right above it so nothing else can get in there. The piston activated and this piston is still open. You open that up and out he goes. Okay, so next is the trading switcher. I'm going to place a sticky piston right there, right next to all these powered rails, so that I can push that one out. Where did I? Yeah, I wanted it right there. Alright, okay. So just forget that little bit there. So you want this redstone torch powering this block almost always, so that it's just locking that villager. So whenever something falls in there, for example, boom, it just stays right there. Now it'll stay right there when the rails aren't powered anyways, but I keep it like this so no other villagers can attach to it. So after that, you want to have a block of, or a line of redstone going right behind this lever, going into a repeater that powers this block. You want to make sure that the lever is right next to the powered rails, so that when you turn this one off, it also powers the rails and he goes on to wherever you need him to go. And when you turn it off, boom, puts it right back out. And the other little bit, I don't really need to build that up, I guess. The other little bit goes right there. It's pretty simple. You just place a sticky piston on the ground, block right next to it, piece of redstone on top of that block on top of that, and a lever. Put it right there. Close that up. And I haven't built up the room, but you would want a room around this, and this would be the little entrance way, so you can lock off the room so nothing else can get in here, and no other villagers can connect to the trading bit. Alright, and lastly is this little drop off bit that kicks them down to a hole that they get pushed into the nether portal. Now you want to have a line going all the way up here to the top of the nether portal, and at the very edge you want to have this activator rail. And you could have powered rails, but I just use regular rails because it's way cheaper after that. And I already have the glass in place. You just want to wrap that around to wherever you want the drop-off system to be for the minecarts. Have a block at the end of it. Actually, that needs to be a little different. That is not it again. There you go. Okay. Just like that, or really however you want to make it, just so that the minecarts all go to one spot wherever you want them to go, and you can just hit them, pick them up, either way. And then right here, oh yeah, that's right, I forgot. You also want to make sure that isn't in the way. I'll rebuild that in a second. You want to make sure that isn't in the way of this bit, because it oftentimes will become in the way. You want to have observer facing in right there, block right beneath it, and on top of that block a piece of string. Alright. And then, oops, right here, you want to have a sticky piston. You want to have a block right behind the activator, or the observer, sorry. And then you want to have a little thing going up here to this sticky piston. Right there. You want to place a redstone block right on top of the activator rail. We'll turn it on. And then after After this is set up, you want to have a redstone line leading up to this little bit. I'm gonna cover that up. Oh, don't cover that up. That's the sticky piston. Get that. Make sure you can't get out anywhere else besides right there. And then push him along. Get on there. There he goes. Goes right in there. Oh yeah, that's right. Forgot to build this up. But for the most part, you get the idea. Gets kicked out into the nether portal bit. The minecart goes along this rail right here so that you can pick him up. It goes into the nether portal exactly where you need him to be, and then you start the cycle over again, building this at the bottom of the other nether portal. Either way, thanks a whole bunch for watching. I really hope this design helps you out as much as it has helped me, and I will see you guys next time.